What's up, everybody? Renfail here, back again with more Baldur's Gate 3, and today we're diving into probably the final video I'm going to do on my Wood Elf Circle of the Moon Druid, who has been at max level now for a couple of weeks at the 12th level cap, and I'm deep into Act 3 at this point with lots more ahead of me, and I am finding absolute satisfaction. This has been exactly the playthrough that I wanted it to be. For those of you who have been following along in the live streams, this character has been entirely done live, daily at 11 a.m. Central Time, for those of you who don't know. It's been a lot of fun, and I've been stewing on this video for a little bit, trying to think of the things I wanted to focus on. And I think I know where I want to go now. I don't do guides like other people do guides, so this is not a meta guide about why the Circle of the Moon Druid is the best druid for these meta reasons because of the stats. I roleplay, so I look first and foremost at the things that I want to get out of the game from a roleplay experience. I am in the shoes of this character. I'm going to make choices based on the restrictions of my statistics. I'm going to make choices based around the party I've taken with me, and I've chosen to go through the game in a very specific way that suits me and my role player desires way, way, way out in the lead above any sort of stat related stuff. So if you're looking for a stat guide to why this particular version of the druid is the best, this isn't going to be it. This is my take on why I think the Moon Druid is like the best druid, and the way I did it is great. But 12th level, this is what it looks like at max, and sort of I'll guide you through the process of where I went from level 1 to level 12, and kind of how I used spells up until that point. We've done a couple of other guides along the way. The last one was when we hit 10th level um, and got access to our final wild shapes. So make sure to check out the other guides as well in this series. And of course, if you like what you see here today, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Check out the playlists. We do way more than just Baldur's Gate 3. There's film reviews, TV show reviews, a couple of podcasts around Middle Earth and Dune. We play other games. There's a Discord. There's member videos. For those of you who are channel members, check it all out. Before we dive completely into the video, here is a big spoiler warning. I am going to be talking about the entirety of the game that I have experienced up until this point, and I'm pretty deep into Act 3. I'm approaching 100 hours of game time with this character. If you don't want things spoiled for you, don't watch this guide. It's that simple. But I'm assuming if you're here to watch a guide on how to, how I took my character through the game, then you might not care if those things are spoiled. But that is your warning for those of you who don't want things spoiled. I will be talking story elements, and I'm also going to be showing some in-game stuff from Act 3, which will also be spoiler in and of itself. So, fair warning, everything beyond this point, we're going in-game, and we're going to spoil it. So, you've been warned. All right, so the remnants laid out before us are the remnants of a pretty big fight we just did. And I would like to say that one of the things I appreciate most about the end game of Baldur's Gate 3 from a design perspective is the fact that there are a lot of really good boss fights, really good fights that challenge your characters even when you're 12th level. So I've been max level for a while now. It's been like a couple of weeks, and all I've been doing at this point is just storyline stuff, and we've been at the cap for quite a while. And I know some people have complained about that. They're like, I want to be able to take my character to level 20, and I've already got a video on that talking about why that's a wrong mindset to have, because this is not a video game. It's a tabletop game set in a digital space. D&D adventures rarely ever go beyond 10th to 12th level. This is another D&D module. I'm fine with that because the gear that we've been getting, the storylines we've been completing, all of that is very satisfactory in terms of progression, because I've been playing D&D since it first came out, and this is the journey of a character through Dungeons and Dragons has never been about getting to 20th level. It's been, we're going to do this adventure. And if you've ever played one of the campaigns, when you're going through the campaign, if you bum rush from point A to point B, you can get to the end and start to be around level 10, level 12 by the time you're getting to the end. But if you do all the quests and you do all the side missions at the table or in this game, you're going to be level 12 long before you get to the end of the game. And as long as you understand that, it's a great journey. But I think some people are coming at this not understanding what Dungeons and Dragons really is. So I got a full video on that. We can talk about it there, rant about it somewhere else. But the point I want to make here is that I have felt extremely satisfied with my Druid's journey, and the boss fights they've been giving me so far have been I'm on Explorer mode, which is the easy mode. extremely satisfying. And extremely rewarding and extremely challenging. I find the encounters challenging on Explorer. I do not need to play on tactician mode like Dark Souls to feel challenged. I'm getting everything I wanted out of this game. I don't come here for that experience. I come here for the story. But I can say that even on Explorer mode, the fights, if you do them legit, which is I don't use any gaming mechanics. I don't cheese anything. I either if I see somebody, I'll surprise them, or if they see me, I'll get surprised, or I do something immediately after a conversation as they were designed to be done. I don't do things like I'm going to talk to this NPC so that I can position this guy around the back and backstab him and surprise him and take half his hit points away before he finishes the conversation. I don't do anything like that with this playthrough. We're definitely doing stuff like that in other playthroughs. But this one has been by the book, and as a result, the gameplay has been very rewarding for me. That being said, big boss fights like this one come frequently and they come hard in Act 3. And right now, I would say the vast majority of fights that we come up against, I'm going to burn. There's probably going to be at least a dozen mobs. They're all going to have mid-level to higher level abilities. And I'm going to burn probably a quarter to a third of my 5th and 6th level spells during any first encounter. And then the second encounter, I'm probably going to burn, the rest of my 5th and more of my 4th. And then beyond that, we'll start getting into the 4th and 3rd level spells for lesser boss fights and general encounters. And you can go quite a ways before you need a long rest, but definitely don't be afraid to use a long rest because you come up against a lot of boss fights here in Act 3, and they're usually pretty challenging. I could say this one. The one that we just did, not this one, but the one we did before this, we did it on a live stream a couple days back. I faced Saravok. That was by far the most challenging encounter I've seen in this game. It was harder than the Iron Throne. It was harder than Anti-Ethel Part 2. Like, there have been some really good boss fights in this game, and I think the Druid performs admirably. But let's talk about, we've talked about all the boss fights and everything else, but I know some people they just want to know the Druid stuff, and that's kind of what we're here for, but also I ramble in my videos, so if you're here for me, then you got to be here for all of it. The Druid is an amazing class at 12th level. I have a huge repertoire of spells. If we want to get into specifics, we can go into my spell book and look at things. But we can go down through here and look at all the different levels of spells I have, so on and so forth. We've got prepared spells right now. We can look through these here, and I'll talk about these a little more. Speak with animals. I am always running Speak with animals. Speak with animals on my character for roleplay purposes. Healing Word I've kept since the beginning, but only as an oh shit spell. Shadowheart is my cleric. I'm playing her out of the box as a trickster, and she's done great. Actually, all these characters are played out of the box. Lae'zel's an Eldritch Knight. In this playthrough, I've got her as a battle master. In a different playthrough, Gale is an evocation wizard, and Shadowheart is a trickster cleric, and they've done fine. But I play the characters as they were designed, so I don't respect them. As a result, Shadowheart's my healer. I've used this spell maybe 10 or 12 times throughout the whole game. I use Thunderwave quite a bit for situational stuff. Ice Knife I haven't played with in a while, and the reason is because I have something better than Ice Knife. Spike Growth I use constantly. This is probably the number one spell that I use, and if you've been on my channel for a while, you've seen me make videos around this. Spike Growth is the most powerful spell that my druid has at his disposal. If you get mobs into a choke point and you can force them to come through this area of damage, you'll take half their hit points away, and in lesser cases, you'll kill mobs before they even get to you. But it is dependent on you having a choke point. It doesn't work all the time because lots of mobs can jump over it or misty step around it, but when you can get it to work, it works brilliantly. Heat Metal I've used on quite a few boss fights. They have to be wearing metal or having they have to have some sort of metal weapon. But I've caused, like Ketheric Thorm, the first time I faced him on the Moonrise Towers, the first part of the fight at the top. I used this spell on him with like a 40% chance, and it hit, and he dropped his hammer, and he was just a piece of cake the rest of the fight. It's a great spell when it works. Also works great against golems and things. Call Lightning is my favorite to use against golems in particular, because they usually have some sort of electricity, reduced resistance to electricity. So Call Lightning works great. However, Call Lightning has a very small radius, so it's really only useful for those targets that have a huge lightning resist or a huge reduced lightning, so you're doing additional damage to them, Or if you've got like 3 or 4 mobs right in front of Lae'zel and they're positioned very tightly, you can call down lightning, and then each additional turn you can call down another ray of lightning and hit those in anyone who's stupid enough to stay in that radius of effect. It's a really cool spell, but it's more situational than anything else. Sleet Storm is also situational. It disrupts concentration of spellcasters, so if you're going up against a particular difficult battle where you've got lots of spellcasters, just drop a Sleet Storm and they'll have to move out, and if you position it properly, you can force them to move out of range, or force them to move into the range of like your melee characters, and either way you're forcing them away from the prime position where they want to sit. It's a great situational tool. I've used Confusion a couple times. Ice Storm is what replaced Ice Knife because this does area effect and it's very powerful AoE. Really cool stuff. Stone Skin, not very often. Conjure Elemental a couple times. Insect Plague I use a lot, similar to Spike Growth. A very powerful spell. Makes the area difficult terrain and imposes disadvantage perception checks, which isn't that great. It's the damage that is also very nice. 4d10 of piercing. Planar Binding, never used. Wall of Thorns, I think a couple of times. Shillelagh or Sunbeam, I think once or twice. Never used Poison Spray. Used to use Thorn Up at the beginning, but haven't in a long time. Produce Flame, nope. Shillelagh, never. But I do a lot of Wild Shaping. I have all the shapes of the game now, except the Displacer Beast, which I will never have because this character is not using tadpoles on its playthrough. So that was a conscious decision I made for a roleplay perspective. And this goes back to how I said in the beginning, I play my characters for roleplay first, not to have the best of everything. So let's talk about wild shapes here really quick, and then I'll get into the stats and stuff. So I don't have a Displacer Beast one, but I have all the other ones. But here's the thing. I use almost none of these. There's only a handful that I use. I use Owlbear probably 85% of the time because it has a ton of hit points, it does AoEs, and it does a lot of damage. It's really good. Also, did I mention it has lots of hit points? Outside of that, I stick with Wolf Form because the bite that you get, which allows you to crit hit the next melee attack from yourself or someone within range. Exposing Bite, I think is what it's called. It's super powerful, and it's just like wham, and then you get a couple more attacks, and one of those is going to be a guaranteed crit. It's so powerful for like single targets. So 80% of the time Owlbear, 15% of the time Wolf Shape. I almost never use the other ones. I'll use Bear Form if I need to as like a last ditch. Oh shit, let's try to goad all the enemies on me to give everybody else a chance to heal up. But if I use that situationally, maybe a handful of times. I've used Cat Form a lot to go into places that you couldn't get as a humanoid, and that's led to some fun roleplay stuff and alternative ways to get into locations. But as far as combat goes, it's Owlbear and Wolf Form all the way. But let's talk stats really quick, because I know that's one area that people like to focus on. Those are my stats. I chose Wood Elf for one specific reason, because they get proficiency with bows, and I'm very happy with that decision because I get to keep all the cool bows that normally might only go to rangers, such as this bow, which I've been using for a while now. It's really cool. You can dive into this if you want at your leisure. But go back to stats. Sorry about that. I got away from that. 10 strength, 14 dex, 13 con, 17 intelligence, 18 wisdom, 14 charisma. I took a couple of points in feats there. Those are the stats I have. Never felt gimped because of them. I've only become encumbered a couple of times, but I just send everything back to camp or send it all to Lae'zel when that happens. So this 10 strength has never been a limitation. Quick commercial break, everyone, to give a shout out to our first official guild officer, Babylonia, as well as all of the guild champions, and of course, all of the members who help keep me on the air full time. To join as a member, simply click that join button below and pick your tier, but you can also support with SuperChats on any live stream or premiere, or SuperThanks on any upload or YouTube short. Don't forget the Discord. Let's get back to the video. Charisma I've been fine with. I've won pretty much every single conversation in the game that I wanted to win, either through inspiration or just straight up having like a druid option. Obviously, you get more bonuses, but with inspiration points, just re-roll. You know, it's not that big of a deal. I've lost a few conversations, and that's fine. I accept that, and I move on, and I see those in the next playthrough. But I would say I've probably won 85%, 90% of the conversations I've gone into. I've won. Some of them have been very pivotal, like the Ketheric Thorm fight down in the bottom of Moonrise Towers, and you know that nat 20 that you have to hit to convince him not to do combat, and I re-rolled that 3 times with inspiration, and finally hit the nat 20 and was able to get past that, and as a result didn't have to do that fight. But that roll is meant to be super epic, super overwhelmingly hard, because that's a big bad boss fight, and they want you to do a big bad boss fight, you know. So it's, you got to really struggle to get that one. So I've not felt limited in any way, shape, or form, but I play a character from a roleplay perspective, not a metagame perspective. So I'm fine with my stats the way they are. Again, explorer mode, so I don't really worry too much about, oh, he doesn't have 16 con to help with concentration. I'm not using concentration spells, folks. I'm using wild shape. Like, I very rarely use concentration other than spike growth, which is situational. You know, it's so for the most part, you know, I'm in wild shape a lot of the times, just doing damage. Usually, the way combat goes, I'll do one or two big spells up front, and then I'll immediately go into wild shape and finish the rest of the fight in wild shape. And I let Gale do the bulk of the spell damage, because that's what he's there for. He's there to back me up. Um, Stealth, animal handling, insight, perception, survival. Those are the skills. I took the Warcaster as a feat, which is really cool as a reaction, because you get to do shocking grasp at creatures as they move out of range, even though you normally wouldn't have shocking grasp in your repertoire. It means that I don't have to worry about whether or not I have a melee weapon or a ranged weapon. It's just if they're in range and they move, then I get to choose, you know, do I want to use the shocking grasp on them? It's a hell of a lot of fun. Um, so again, I've chosen not to do any tadpoles on my way through here. And I've not suffered for it at all. I have access to all the wild shapes except for the Displacer Beast, which will be cool. But I'll do that on another playthrough at some point in time. This one specifically role-played not having those, and I haven't felt limited by it whatsoever. And like I said, all of my other characters are out of the box. Shadowheart, Gale, Lae'zel, exactly how they came when they started. I haven't respect them at all, and I feel amazing. This has been a great playthrough. My druid feels extremely powerful. And I just love being able to do all the things you can do. Just let's drop a lightning. Let's drop a lightning over here and just be like, bazam, bam. What a little bit of lightning, a little bit of thunder. How about we do an ice knife? I just love the VFX too. Boom. And then of course, pièce de résistance. Let's go into wolf form. That is just one of many reasons why I love the druid in Baldur's Gate 3, everybody. So there you have it, everyone. That's my rambling take on the druid class. I went wood elf because I want the bow, and I love Circle of the Moon, the idea behind that as a roleplay perspective. So I've had a lot of fun with this character. I'm still playing the game. I'm looking forward to eventually finishing the story, but if I had to estimate, I'm still another 50, 60 hours away from my personal end, which will probably take the next 2 months to get through it at the rate we're live streaming, mixing in Starfield and Cyberpunk and everything else. But if you like everything you saw here today, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Check out all the videos as they come out. I produce 3 to 5 videos every single day on Baldur's Gate, as well as Starfield, Cyberpunk, and other games. Check out the playlists, the podcasts, join the Discord. Links are down below. Don't forget to check out the videos for the members if you're a new member, and you can always do super thanks for a one-off donation as a way of saying thanks for the content I produce and keep me on the air full time. Until next time, everybody, see ya.